Hey guys, welcome. For today's shorter practice, we are going to focus on slowing it down, finding the places that feel really efficient and really effective. I know sometimes for myself in shorter practices, the inclination sometimes is to hurry up, to do more, like to fit it all in that shorter time. So I want to explore the other side of that. What if instead we slowed it down, kept it really simple, but stayed in the poses longer to find places that kind of created that slow burn? So if you have a couple blocks, great. Have those nearby, and we're going to go ahead and start laying down. And once you get there, just take your feet out wide, bend your knees, and let your knees rest together in constructive rest pose. You can bring your hands by your sides or to your belly, or even out wide if that feels like a nice place to start. And as you close your eyes, just see where your breath is to begin. And so notice the speed of it, the length of it. And see if you can focus on starting to slow your breath down. Worry less about the depth of it, that'll come. Start by slowing the breath down. Invite the body to slow down. And our ultimate goal often to invite the mind to slow down a little bit more too. So give yourself just a few full, slow breaths like that. And when you're ready, draw your knees into your chest. Make a couple big circles, knees out wide and back together. And take them in opposite directions. You're drawing figure eights with your knees. Just a really nice, efficient way to lubricate the hip joint, get a little of the synovial fluid working, and then reverse, take it the opposite direction. Think about that like the WD-40 for our joints, a way to help keep fluidity going. And then bring both feet down to your mat. Cross your right ankle to left knee, figure four. Flex your right foot. Stay here or draw the left thigh in. Right, just find wherever that place of sensation is for you. And we'll just stay. Spend a little time there. It's the staying sometimes that's effective. It gives these bigger muscle groups time to soften, to unwind, to start to create a little bit more space. Right. Also, a little time to make some good fine-tuning adjustments in the pose. And so squeeze outer right knee towards outer right hip. And we'll use the same action in some standing poses today. So I like to think about it like you're zipping those 2 points together. And as you do that, you might feel a little bit more engagement in the outer right hip. And then as you draw your left thigh in, if it's lifted, also lengthen back down through your sacrum and your tailbone. You might feel a little bit more curve come into your low back there. And wherever you're at, just take a few more full breaths. And then keep the figure four. Bring your left foot back to your mat. Walk your left foot over to the left, and then bring both knees to your right. I like to sometimes use a block here underneath my thigh or my knee. A pillow works well too. If your legs comfortably come down to the floor, great. Just hang out there. You can also always uncross the top leg. Sometimes that just eases the sensation a little bit. So find the right place for you. Bring your arms out to T shape or cactus shape. And then find a little bit more engagement here through the left glute. So just give them a little squeeze. And as you do that, lengthen your left knee away from your left hip. So we begin to create some traction now in the front of the hip flexors. That place can get a little bit sticky. And as we stay just a little bit longer in poses today, see if you can notice which tends to resist first, right? Sometimes when we're used to a certain length of time, but we keep staying, sometimes the body starts to say no, sometimes the mind starts to resist. Just notice. Unwind, come back to center, and then just switch sides. So cross left ankle to right, flex your foot, and then either stay right here, that might feel good, or you can bring your thigh in. Flex your feet. And make some of those nice small same adjustments. So squeeze outer left knee towards outer left hip. And so if you feel that, it might draw the knee a little further away from your elbow without having to use any pressure with your hand. And as you keep drawing your right thigh in, resist that. So you lengthen your sacrum, your tailbone back down towards your mat. And just notice where sensation's happening. It might be different quality, even different place side to side. And as we stay and spend time there, does it shift within that time frame? Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes it shifts later. Sometimes it takes years. All right, release your right foot down to your mat. Walk your right foot over to the right and then let both knees fall to your left. And you can slide some support underneath your left thigh or knee. Bring your arms out to the side. And just a little squeeze of your right glutes as you lengthen your right knee away from your right hip, right? So forward towards the front end of your mat. And stay rooted back through your right shoulder. And just listen to where your breath feels slow and full and steady. And use your next inhale, come on back to center. Hug both knees into your chest. And then take a hold behind your thighs. We're going to come to standing forward fold so you can rock back and forth a couple times or just roll to the side and press yourself up, whatever feels like the best place for you today. And then once you get there, take your feet either hip width apart or big toes together. You can take a bend in your knees. That might feel really nice for this first forward fold. And then go ahead, take hands to opposite elbows. Let the top of your head hang and relax. And we're going to bring some stability to the legs. Start to turn them on here. Press down into your feet. Hug your inner legs towards one another. And then roll your upper inner thighs back and wide and apart. So it feels like a little bit more space in between your sitting bones. And then hug your kneecaps up towards your thighs so you get the fronts of the quads to turn on. And then just get a little bit heavier through your upper body. Really great, efficient, simple way to start to create some space along the back line of the body. And calves, hamstrings, low back, spine. Just continue to let your breath be slow. Take a few more breaths here. Release your hands, bring your hands to your hips, press down into your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. And we'll just take a couple of really slow sun salutations just to get blood flow moving a little bit before we dive into some deeper holds again. Inhale, reach both arms up. Exhale, follow your breath. Slowly fold forward. Let it take the whole length of your exhale. Right? Same for each movement. Inhale, lengthen forward, lift halfway, anchor through your feet. Exhale, fold, plant your hands, step back, plank. Inhale here in high plank, strong through your hands, lift through your belly. And then exhale, bent knees or straight legs come all the way down. And press down through the tops of your feet. Inhale, lift up, head, chest, shoulders, cobra pose. Exhale, lower down, stretch back, down dog. And take 2 full breaths. Right, sun salutations, great, efficient, effective way to warm up the body, taking the spine through different ranges of motion. Inhale to toes, bend your knees, exhale, walk, step, or hop front of your mat. Lengthen forward, lift halfway, inhale. Fold, exhale. Root down, inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands together at your heart. Follow your breath, slow and steady. Reach up, inhale. Bend your knees, sit back, exhale. Weight to your heels, lift up through your fingertips, but settle low down into your hips. And slowly inhale, stand all the way up, and slow and controlled, right? Exhale, fold forward. Take that full length of your breath. Lengthen forward, lift halfway, inhale. Fold, exhale, plant your hands, step your right foot back. And then with that full length of your inhale, slowly bring both arms up overhead, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands back down to your mat. Plant your hands, step back, plank. And inhale and plank. Exhale, come all the way down to your mat. And strong legs float up through your upper body. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, lower down, stretch back, down dog. Right leg up, inhale. Step your right foot through, exhale. And inhale, sweep both arms up overhead, nice and slow and steady. And so it's just one long continuous movement with breath. Exhale, lower down, step forward to the front of your mat. Lengthen forward, half lift, inhale. And fold, exhale. This time bring your hands to your hips, press down through your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, bring hands together at your heart. Take a breath. Slow, steady, unrushed. And inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, bend your knees, sit back, chair pose. All right, keep your arms lifted, or you bring your hands together at prayer. Whatever feels more supportive for your shoulders or your low back there. And settle weight down to your heels. Strengthen your inner legs. And then reach up, stretch up through your fingertips if your arms are lifted. If your hands are in prayer, just find a little space, openness through the front of your chest. Yeah, now we start to stay. Think about this as poses that are really effective, simple, strong, places where we can build some heat, some stability, and also work to create some space in your body. And press down through your heels. Inhale, stand all the way up. And exhale, fold forward. Place your hands, step back, this time down dog. Good. And then really settle in here in down dog. It's sometimes just such a stopover pose. We'll see what it feels like when we stay a little bit longer. And so spread out wide through your fingertips. And then press down through each fingertip. And keep that pressure, especially through thumb and index finger. And roll the eyes of your elbows up towards the ceiling. Let's feel what that does for your shoulders. Stretch your hips back. Send your heels towards your mat. And just like that forward fold, squeeze your kneecaps up towards your thighs. And when we get that strength in the front of the legs, it invites a little bit more space through the backs of the legs. And with each exhale, just drop the weight of your head. Let your chest soften back towards your thighs. And slow down your breath. As you start to stay here longer, just notice what really has to activate, what's working, and where a little bit more space is happening in your body. And just take a few more breaths. Next, inhale, side forward, high plank pose. Yep, we'll stay. So you can bring knees down at any time. Right, nice way for a little bit of support if that would be helpful. Keep that same strong foundation in your hands. Do that same adjustment. So roll the eyes of your elbows forward, wrap your triceps back. And then zip up through your low belly. Hug your outer waistline in, lots of support around your core. And then keep lengthening out through the top of your head, especially when it gets a little bit challenging. The chin wants to drop down. Slow down your breath. Notice which ones to get out first, mind or body. I think plank is one of our most simple and effective poses for creating a little bit more strength and stability. Good, one more full breath in. And then exhale, knees down, settle back, child's pose. Take a few breaths. There's that tried and true saying in yoga of the pose begins when you want to get out of it. Right? When the mind is ready to leave, when the body's ready to leave, that's where the work happens. That's where the change happens. And press into your hands, stretch up and back, down dog. Inhale to toes. Bend your knees, exhale, walk, step, or hop front of your mat. Bring your hands to your hips, press down to your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. Take a breath. And if you have blocks, go ahead and set them up, one at the front, one at the back of your mat. We'll just do some standing poses. So if you like them there for triangle or side angle pose, do that. Let's take a big step wide and come to face whichever edge of the mat works better if you want to see, or just whichever direction you're facing. And then turn your left toes forward, slide your right heel back, bend your front knee, bring your arms out wide, warrior two. And settle in. And start with foundation, root down into your feet, hug your inner legs together. And then that same action that we did in figure 4, squeeze outer left knee towards outer left hip. And then scoop your left sitting bone under. Create a lot of stability in the leg there. And then lengthen up through the top of your head. Encourage your right shoulder, right ribs back a little bit. So it feels like shoulders are more square towards the side of the mat as you take your gaze forward over your fingertips. And slow down breath. And just take the time to notice what happens in each pose, both in mind, but also in body. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale, reach forward, come down, triangle pose. Block here if you want it, hand to shin or mat. Reach your top arm up. Let the simplicity be effective. These poses that our body's used to, it doesn't mean we're not working. And when we stay, we really start to burn through some of those things that are holding on a little bit tighter, some of those bigger muscle groups that need a little bit more time. And keep that same strength in your legs here as you had in Warrior Two. And just be mindful of the front knee. Like I find I'm prone to hyperextension, so a little softness there is good so there's not a lot of pressure on the knee joint. And if you're the other way, it's a little less flexible. Try a little softness just to give yourself a little more space. Reach up, open your chest. And then look down at your left foot. Bring your right hand to your hip. Step your back foot in. Walk your left hand forward. And left and right leg up, half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. You can bring your block with you if you have it, or hand to your mat. And as you root down from left hip to left foot, roll your right hip open. You flex your right foot and squeeze from your heel up towards your sitting bone. So you get that strength of the leg to turn on. And you can stay here, hand to hip. You can reach your top arm up. If it feels like the thigh stretch is a good place to go. We haven't done a ton to warm that up, but for some people it comes a little more, you already have the space. You're welcome to bend your knee, reach back, take a hold of your foot. And find a focus point for your eyes. That might be down at the floor, that might be more towards the side wall, or even up towards the ceiling. That's going to challenge the balance a little bit more. And then slow down breath. Start to feel that little bit of burn activation in the muscle. Bring some breath there. But be mindful. The place that things are happening, working, but you're not forcing. If you have your top foot release, everyone take a big breath in. And then exhale, bend your front knee, step all the way back, warrior two. Good. Inhale here. And then exhale, forearm to thigh, top arm up and overhead, side angle pose, Parsvakonasana. Okay, so you can also bring your left hand to a block or to the mat if that reach doesn't feel like straining, stretching, overdoing. And squeeze your heels in towards one another. Anchor down through your feet. And then press the crease of your right thigh back. And so it feels almost like you're sticking your butt out behind you. And then curl again your left sitting bone under. Standing poses are really efficient for building heat, but also range of motion in the hips. Right? We're taking it in two different ranges of motion throughout the standing poses. And press down into your feet. Inhale, stand all the way up. And then reach both arms up, pivot your feet to the long end of your mat, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. You can walk your hands back, take a hold of ankles, or take the shoulder opener, interlace your hands, and reach your knuckles right, either back or up towards the ceiling. Let the top of your head hang. Stay strong through your legs. And soft through your knees if that would feel good to give the backs of your legs or your low back a little bit more space. And take a few more breaths. In those places we feel the tendency, the urge to hurry, to get things moving, can you settle in a little deeper? Bring your hands to your hips, press down, inhale, come all the way up. And then right toes towards the other side of your mat, left heel back. So just whichever direction you're facing will come the opposite. Bend your front knee. Bring your arms out wide, warrior two. Settle in. Strong legs hug in. And again, squeeze that outer line, right knee towards right hip. Not going to move a whole lot. It might track the knee a little more down the center of your foot, but just creating stability. And then curl your right sitting bone under. Another way to think about that, different cues land differently for different people, is to roll your inner thigh up towards the ceiling. Right? So whichever feels like it gives you that rotating out of the front thigh. And then left shoulder, left ribs back. Stretch out wide through your arms. Look over your front fingertips. And we often get this urge in general when there's a lot to do in a short period of time. We want to hurry up. Inhale, straighten your front leg, a little release for the thigh. Exhale, reach forward, come down, triangle pose, Trikonasana. Support if that would feel good. Stretch your top arm up. Stay anchored through your legs. Open through your chest. And what if instead we did this? We slowed it down. If you took the time to really sink into each thing that you had to do, one at a time, to find the places on the to-do list throughout the day that were most efficient and most effective. You think about getting the most bang for your buck, especially when it feels like it all won't get done. You pick and choose. And sometimes just slowing down a little feels like it gives us the space for that. And the top hand to your hip, look down, and then take a step in with your back foot. Walk your right hand forward. Bring your block with you if that feels good. And float your left leg up, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Press down, right hip to right foot, and then roll left hip open. You can flex your foot, squeeze from your heel back towards your sitting bone, and then keep hand to hip. Reach your top arm up or bend your knee, reach back for the thigh stretch. And if you have that foot and hand, just find a little resistance. Press foot and hand into one another. Stay rooted through your foot as you lean back a little and open up into that pose. If you're here with leg extended, just keep legs strong. And that same sensation of squeezing legs towards one another, even if they're not moving. Release your top foot. Take a full breath in. And then exhale, bend your front knee. Step all the way back, warrior two. If you need to adjust the stance a little bit, we don't just land right as we want to. Inhale here. And then side angle pose, forearm to thigh. Reach your top arm up and over. Crease of your back thigh, your left thigh back. Curl your right sitting bone under, or same, think about it as inner right thigh up towards the ceiling. And then anchor down through your back foot, roll your chest open. Slow, steady breath. When you feel that little bit of shaking in the body, it's okay. That's where the change happens. Right, move away from pain, but that little bit of slow burn and shaking, a good thing. Inhale, come all the way up, reach your arms up, and then exhale, pivot to the front of your mat, step back, downward facing dog. From down dog, bring your knees down to your mat, sit back to your heels, and swing your legs all the way around in front. Good. Just one nice big hip opener. If you have a blanket or a pillow, you want to sit up on that for a little support, do that. Okay. And then two options here. Same shape of the legs, just depending on range of motion. So you can do shins crossed, left shin in front, or left shin on top, fire log pose, right? So either in Sukhasana or here in Agni Stambhasana. Flex your feet, lengthen your spine, and then walk your hands forward, right? Forward might be here, forward might be all the way down. Just find the range of motion that works for you. And stay long out through your spine. And see if you can lengthen from tailbone to crown. I'm going to give you a little bit more space just to soften in. That heat we built in the standing poses by just staying, being there. And that often helps then to create a little bit more space when we get into hip opening. And it's just really about trying different approaches in your practice. Sometimes moving a little bit faster, linking poses, it can be great. It's good for cardiovascular system. Just going to have a different effect on both mind and body and breath than longer holds will. Sometimes interesting to notice too where we resist one or the other. It's often because we need it. Right, the moving fast or the slowing down, come all the way back up, switch sides. So either here, right shin in front, or right shin on top. Right, and if you're here, flex your feet. Wherever you are, root down through your seat, lengthen your spine, hinge at your hips and fold. And as you anchor back through your seat, lengthen out through the top of your head. That might give you just a little bit more space. Time can be a big stress for many of us. Wake up on those days with so much to do and it feels like never enough time. So I find this approach helpful to slow down, get really efficient with what we can do. Walk yourself back up, unwind your legs, come down onto your back. All right. If you have a block, have it nearby. We're going to do one long bridge pose. So you're welcome to do supported bridge with your block underneath, or you're welcome to hold for a couple of breaths and then slide your block underneath, or just hold. All right, walk your feet in, bend your knees, place your feet hip width, stretch your arms by your sides. Take a full breath out, and then inhale, float your hips up. You can keep arms here or interlace. Press down through your heels, and then traction your heels back towards your shoulders. At the same time, lengthen your knees away. Lift your chin towards your chest, and press the back of your head down to your mat. Stay like this. Slide your block underneath if a little bit more support would feel good. Just keep your breath slow. If it feels like the glutes are trying to do all the work here, soften just a little bit. Right, that traction down to the heels, back towards your shoulders, usually invites the hamstrings to turn on a little bit here too, so we get that helping to support instead of it just being glutes. Feel a little slow burn. One more breath in. And then come all the way down. Soles of your feet together, knees out wide, butterfly, hands to your belly. And just feel where your breath is at. And feel the effects of your practice on your body in that short period of time. We didn't do a lot of different poses. We stayed long in the ones that we did. Just feel how effective it was for you for today. And then help your knees back together. Stretch your legs out long. We'll take just a few moments here in Shavasana. If seated or seated meditation sounds like a good option for you today, you're always welcome to do that. Sometimes, especially midday practices or shorter practices, I find that can be beneficial too. But wherever you're at, close your eyes and let go of the effort. And trust the effects of the practice to settle in here in these last moments of rest. If you are able to stay longer, please do. And ready to come out, take a full stretch, reach your arms up overhead, lengthen out through your legs. And then draw your knees towards your chest, roll to your side. Press yourself all the way back up to sitting. Bring your hands together at your heart. Sit tall. Lift heart to hands, bow head to heart. I invite you to take this practice where you need it, off your mat. And those times we need to slow down, create a little bit more space. Thanks so much for sharing practice. Namaste.